money doesn't really matter much if you don't do anything with it while you're here. And that brings me to the question of legacy. And have you thought about what you want to be remembered for? I think in a lot of communities, especially the black community, let's just be real, we do not have many legacy conversations. I don't know any friends of mine who talk about, what they want for future generations, what they want to be remembered for, what kind of man they want to be at all. And, as I try to become the man I want to be, that's something that's on my mind a lot. Why is that something that's not discussed? And, I see a lot of distractions. I shouldn't say nobody talks about it, because I'm sure I can find a few people that I know, but I do see a lot more people distracted by today than thinking about tomorrow, and how their actions impact the people around them and the generations that come after them. Every time I come to the gym, I have like these, it's a time to myself, because there's not a whole lot of time that I'm just going to be sitting around on my own. But, drive to the gym, and when I'm sitting in front of this camera, that's the time I get to spend, thinking about who I am, what I'm doing, if the actions I'm putting forth are producing what I say I want. And that makes you question a lot of times, what is it that you want, right? Outside of just going to the gym, getting in shape, right? I don't give an example with that. I do want to go to the gym and look good. Like, I want my body to reflect that I have been putting in work to take care of it, right? But it's not just a cosmetic thing. I want to be strong, right? I want to have a body that is, can physically dominate things around it, right? If I need to pick up something heavy, or just simple shit, right? That we all should be able to do. I want my body to be able to produce, to be productive. That's what I really want out of my body. Not just, looking good but can't do anything. That's useless. And then I think about that with money a lot, right? So what am I saving money for? Well, I'm saving money so that I can go into this, business and flip houses. But why? Why am I doing that? Because I want to provide something for my family so that they don't have to work. Why? Because too many of us have no business sense, nothing to pass down, and that's why so many of us have to work jobs that we hate. So it's not a matter of, well, I'm doing this because my daughter's gonna work here. She's gonna work at the business I'm making. She doesn't have to. But it's about giving my future generations options. It's about giving them the ability to say, you know what? The world really is my oyster. I could choose whatever I want to choose. Do whatever I want to do. And that only happens if I put in work today to provide that legacy. Again, that's that thing that I can pass down that will provide her, both my daughters, some options, my wife, some options. The other thing about legacy is that a lot of us, I don't think, even consider what people will remember of us by, right? And not that it's super important for you to feel the need to construct your life based on how people see you. I'm not saying live a life other people would want for you. But what I am saying is, if the best people in the world, the best people that you have come across would not remember you fondly, maybe the problem is you, right? And that's how I try to think about it. Again, I'm defining good people in whatever sense you define good people. For me, I'm defining these good people by their actions, right? So if I can recognize that they're good people and they don't see good in me, that tells me I am not showing up in my own life enough for it to be clear that I am headed in the right direction, right? It doesn't have to always be obvious. I'm not saying I had to shout from the mountaintops everything I'm doing, but when people think about you, what do they think of you? What do they think to themselves? Oh yeah, that's John the lazy fuck? Or are they thinking, John, yeah, that's the guy who saves fucking money. That's the guy that's out of debt. That's the guy that's in shape. That's the guy who takes himself seriously, his family seriously. That's the one that if you come across his kids, fuck you up. Like that's what I'm thinking of when I say that. Like when people think of you as, being your friend, what mental image do they have of you? For better or worse? And is it accurate? If it's not accurate, is the reason they have that image because of the actions that you've taken? Again, this refers back to legacy. Why do we not have these kind of conversations enough that we have enough people saying to themselves, hey, I need to do something that produces a positive outcome in the world? That's what I'm really after through all the means that I can. YouTube, again, very small channel, but a few people watch. If that helps someone, great. But the important part for me is I'm not doing the things I do to be liked. I think I'm going to be very specific in making that distinction. This is not about getting praise. This is not about being on the right side of history. This is not about having people look at you fondly. This is about producing the results of a person that you would be proud to stand next to. I want to look at my life when I get to the end of it and say, that's a person that I would want my daughter to meet, and I would be happy for them to stand next to. I'd be happy for them to marry. That's how I think about it. And am I being the man I'd want for them? And if the answer is no, why? Why? And I don't think a lot of us are honest about that. And when we do ask that question, sometimes we paint ourselves in a better light than we are. Because when you look in the mirror, if you're not where you want to be, and this is something that happened to me. The reason I'm having these kind of reflections is because when I had my first daughter, this happened to me. I looked in the mirror with this child, right? I got this child, this very small infant, right? And I'm thinking to myself, am I what I want her to have? And the answer was no. It was no. And again, that only comes from just honest self-reflection. The one thing I can say about myself is that it's very rare that I just lie to myself continuously. Like I'm aware of my reality. And one thing I could not lie to myself about was that I was not producing. I was not being productive in a way that I'd want someone that she brought to me and say, hey, Dad, this is who I want to be with. I wasn't being productive in a way that I'd want that person to be. Not even close. I wasn't even producing in a way that I'd want teenagers to produce. Like that's just real. Like I was in my own slump for my own reasons. But it doesn't change the reality that in order to get out, I had to get out. I had to make the choice. I had to do something about it. So I just wonder, when you think about your legacy and what you're going to leave behind, and you look in the mirror each day, are you proud of the person that's staring back at you? If the answer is no, look around at your life, at what you do each day, and ask yourself, are those the reasons why? Because really, our lives are just it's just the culmination of all the shit that we do each day. That's it. You don't get a strong body if you are not putting your body through tough physical challenges every single day. You don't just become strong. You don't just become rich. Could you win the lottery? Sure, but most of y'all who win the lottery lose it anyway. The things that are worthwhile, that people say, wow, they've got that takes work every single day. Are you doing that? Are you putting in the work every single day so that you can look in the mirror and be proud of who's looking back at you? Legacy is something that we need to think more about. It's something that I think more about. And hopefully we can have a reasonable discussion about what we want out of our lives and why it's important to be thinking about people beyond ourselves. Because what I think happens, unfortunately, we talk a lot of stuff about how our fellow man is important. And then the people in our own house, we do not produce for. The people in our own house we do not pass lessons down to. People in our own house we falter on. Don't tell me how much you care about the world if the people in your own house are not taken care of because of the actions that you are taking. Let's fix ourselves so that we can provide the legacy for our future generations, and then they can continue to extend that and change the world for the better. That's all I want to leave y'all with today. Talk to y'all later.